Yo, guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Happily Whatever After Tips and Tales Season 2.
टिप्स एंड टेल्स फॉर रिलेशनशिप
फॉर रिलेशनशिप्स, यस. सो जैसा कि आप लोग जानते हैं कि हमारी रिलेशनशिप्स के बारे में हम बात करते हुए आ रहे हैं.
तो करण, हम पिछले एपिसोड से कुछ लोगों को इनवाइट कर रहे हैं जिन्होंने हमें हील होने में हेल्प किया है,
करेक्ट.
जिनकी वजह से हमारी रिलेशनशिप इतनी ब्यूटीफुल हुई है.
या.
सो वन ऑफ देम इज हियर टुडे.
यस.
शी इज नीलम Nanwani, and she is a shamanic practitioner, and she's helped me get over all my divine feminine issues and imbalances that I had, and overall that really helped me and Karan have a better relationship. And Neelam has been uh, a healer, ancestral healing, soul work, womb work, so many things she has done for so many people. She's been changing lives since 13-14 years now, right?
Yes. So she also started being a spiritual teacher. Can I say that? And from since then, 2013 is when she started, and she's been into, I think, almost 11-12 years right now. She's been into this journey.
Yeah.
And welcome Neelam to our podcast, and thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to talk to you, because as a couple we both believe in spirituality, and spirituality really helps in the fast-pacing world today. Probably people don't look at how spirituality plays an important role, but once again thanking you that you are a part of our life, and you have helped us. So welcome once again, Neelam.
Thank you, Karan and Shoki. And yes, I've been teaching since 13 years, but the spiritual journey began around 20-25 years ago. So since then I've been exploring my own self and trying to understand, trying to heal. And the professional teaching started since 13-14 years. Thank you, both of you, for giving me an opportunity to share my views with your audience, and thank you for having me.
We are so lucky to have you.
Yes.
So talking about your journey, now that you're saying it has been 25 years, so can you tell us something about your personal journey, how it started, how you went to healing and shamanism came into your life? So what led you on this path?
Yes.
Before we begin on our conversation, I have a small request, if you both allow.
Please,
Yes,
please.
In our healing work, we have a small ritual that we do, which is called opening up of the sacred space. In the opening up of the sacred space, what we do is we invite all the divine beings and the sacred beings. Like Hinduism में जैसे हम हवन करते हैं ना, तो हम दशों दिशाओं का आवाहन करते हैं. We call in the 10 directions. Likewise in shamanism, we invoke different elementals, different guides, different deities, different directions, and we pray to them that this conversation is for the highest good of all. And जो भी audience के लिए helpful है, वही हमारे conversation में उभर के आए, ऐसी prayer करते हैं हम लोग. So can I just take a few minutes of yours time and audience time to open up sacred space?
Yes, absolutely. We should do that every time, because that's been our journey, right? To touch base how many lives as we can. So yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Please
Yes,
do
please
that.
do that. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Do we need to do anything like?
No, you can just close your eyes and be receptive. And
Yes.
so the
Okay.
audience can also be receptive.
Great.
It is believed that the sound of the drum is very similar to that of the heartbeat of the mother, which the child listens to when he or she is inside the womb of the mother. So we will play this drum, and we will invoke all our divine beings, guides, power animals, animal guides, angels, our ancestors, to come and encircle us, to join us in this conversation, to lead us, to ensure that whatever we talk or converse or share is for the highest good of all those who are listening to us and beyond. And with that, I will drum a little bit. I invoke the spirit of the East, the direction of new beginnings, of the element of air, of joy, of inspiration, of story, of sound, to join us in this sacred circle today, to speak to us, to speak through us, to communicate our stories for the audience about relationships. We welcome your divine blessings into the sacred circle. Please join us, Spirit of the East. Aho. To the spirit of the south, of that of the midday sun, of the element of fire, of transformation, of transmutation. We welcome your blessings today in this sacred circle. Join us, allow us to communicate and transform and transmute the stories of our relationships for the highest good of all. We welcome your blessings into the sacred circle. The element of fire is also about, the element of south and the fire is also about family, of joy, of togetherness. We welcome your divine blessings into the sacred circle. Aho. The direction of the west, of that of the waning moon and the setting sun, the element of water, of Mother Ocean, of the womb and the womb of this divine mother from whom we are all born, to the direction of our emotions, emotions that run and ruin and rule the relationships. We welcome your divine presence into our sacred circle. Come, teach us your ways, bring us wisdom. We welcome you. Aho. Direction of north, of that of the season winter, of that of the night, of that of the dark moon, of that of our sacred ancestors, the old ones and the ancient ones who have walked this path before, of Shiva and Shakti, Purush and Prakriti. We welcome your blessings today in this sacred circle where we gather with Karan and Shoki to talk about relationships. Bring us your ways, teach us your wisdom. We welcome you, we honor you. Aho. Sky who sits above us, Grandmother Eagle, Grandmother Owl, Father Sun, Grandmother Moon, we call upon your divine blessings and protection upon us in this sacred circle. Allow us to see through the bird's eye view the concept of relationships so that we may have better harmony, and when we have better harmony within the family system, our society becomes healthy and harmonious. We welcome your presence, your divine wisdom into the sacred circle, Grandfather Sky. We welcome you. Aho. Welcome the blessings and prayers and the love of Divine Mother Earth, you from whom we are born and to you we shall return. We realize that in this web of life we are all connected, we are all one. And may this wisdom and a sense of oneness translate into this sacred circle, into the concept of relationships, where we learn to love and honor our own self and each one of us with whom we connect. We welcome you, dear Mother, into our sacred circle. Join us, teach us. We love you, we honor you. Aho. Sacredness of the seventh direction that lives within the sacred space of our heart, the center of the wheel. Without this center, the different directions of the spokes of the wheel cannot exist. May we learn to be in the center, in the here and the now. May we learn to connect with each one of us from this center. We ask for your blessings and divine wisdom in this sacred circle. Please join us, Spirit of the Now. Aho. Invoking the support and the blessings of the spirit of technology that connects us in this time, the food that nourishes us, and the shelter that protects us. To all our guides and animal guides, deities and angels, and all the divine beings, we ask you, dear ones, to encircle us, to guide us, to speak through us, to join us in this participation and in this conversation, so that we may have healthy partnerships and healthy love relationships between one and all. We welcome you, dear ones. We join us in our sacred circle. We honor you. Aho. That lives within each one of us, within Shoki, within Karan, within me, and all of your audience. I invoke that divinity in this sacred circle. We invoke all of our higher selves to join us, to participate, to learn, to share, to contribute. And may this wisdom, may this sharing, may this divine effort create ripple effects in the web of life, creating more and more harmony within and without. We welcome you, dear ones. Aho. We can now open our eyes. Thank you, Karan and Shoki, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so
That was
much.
like so amazing. I
So,
think we should really do this every time.
yes. So it is magical, it is divine,
Yeah.
I think. Yes. Thank you so much, Neelam. It means a lot to us that we have so much of power, so much of love coming from all across north, west, east, south,
Sky.
sky, Mother Earth. I think brilliant.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
So, so we were talking about your journey.
Yes.
So
One more time, the question.
yes. So, since you told us it's been 25 years of you doing this beautiful work, like doing the walking the spiritual path. So, can you tell us how shamanism came into your life, how you became a teacher, a little bit about what happened in life for you to come here?
So, a lot of things happened, and the primary question was it began with my inter-family systems, where the relationship between my mother and father was crumbling down, and as a result of which the children were crumbling down. My mother, unfortunately, died an unnatural death, and that put me on the spiritual quest as to what could I have done to have better family relationships and also be able to save her. Long story short, few incidents happened in my life, and certain betrayals happened, certain frauds happened, and I started questioning why me. And I refused to believe that I am a victim of destiny. I chose to believe what can I do to change my life, and that's how my quest began. And that's how different healing modalities started coming my way, be it Reiki, be it crystals, be it angels, be it hypnotherapy, be it DNA healing, or NLP. And finally, it was some modalities gave some answers, but the quest was still not complete. I was still not finding myself to be at home with myself, and I was constantly looking for a life partner, and I had a betrayal, I had court case of, and all that trauma, and I was trying to look for a second partner, but the partner was not manifesting. And that's wherein shamanism came my way, and I indulged into the path, and I got some healings done. And in one of the healings, it was portrayed that as a child, the child self in me saw my parents fighting, and that experience was so traumatic for the child self, for the soul self, that a portion of my soul flew out of my body. In shamanism, we call that as soul loss. So I experienced soul loss. When soul loss happens, the psyche also undergoes a change. So the change of psyche that happened in me was that marriages are painful because I saw my parents fighting, and the soul left the body because of that trauma. Portion of my soul left the body because of that trauma, and the child developed the belief that marriages are painful. And so, although a conscious part of me was seeking happy, healthy relationships or a life partner or a love relationship again, but it wasn't happening. And the moment I got this healing done, within a few months, I manifested Paul, who is my twin flame, who was my twin flame. And so that's how my journey into shamanism started, with actually relationships, now that you talk about it. The
Wow.
quest
Wow.
for having a love relationship and having love in my life, and not getting answers through any other healing modality.
So, so basically, this is exactly what we in general keep
Yes.
talking about in our therapy terms, that how Karan's uh, inner child or Karan's childhood had seen his parents fight at all times, and hence, initially, our relationship was not able to be a happy one
Correct.
because he
Yeah.
has never seen a happy marital relationship.
Yeah.
I love how all the, whether it's healing modality or medical stuff, they
Yeah.
all go back to similar things.
Right.
So
Correct.
so somehow everything is uh, connected
Yes, everything
all
is connected
together.
all together. Yes.
Correct.
Where we come from, what are the issues? So, yeah, I think brilliant. Yeah.
But there was a buzzword that I just heard you say, which is twin flame, where everybody goes crazy when they hear that. Oh my God, my twin flame is here. So, I want to really know if Karan is my twin flame. But also there are other people who believe that अरे ये क्या होता है, tin flame is just a scam, ये तो कुछ भी है नया. So can you explain for a layman, मतलब जिसको कुछ नहीं पता, tin flame का टर्म ही नहीं पता, उसको हम कैसे बताएं कि what is twin flame and how is it different from like a soulmate, or like what is twin flame basically?
So you're right that unfortunately the term twin flame has become a fad. That said, the concept of twin souls and twin flames does exist, just like the concept of soulmate exists. Now, in soulmates means coming from the same soul family.
Hmm.
So we choose each other at the soul level, and we are from the same family group. That I'll be born here, I'll be your friend, I'll be your partner, I'll be your husband, I'll be your neighbor, I'll be your boss who will trouble you, or I'll be your friend who will support you. And so we come into a contractual level at the soul level. We descend on earth, we are born in different families, and we come together either to challenge each other or to support each other. Now, why we come to challenge each other is also another story, but we all form a group in order to support and participate and contribute in each other's journey. That's primarily the soulmate. You and I can also be soulmate, even though we are not connected. So
Yeah,
that's how people from different soul groups connect to contribute to each other. So, for
Okay.
all you know, I may be a part of your soul family as well. Other people you are interviewing could be also the part of your soul family as well. So that's the concept of a soulmate. In case of a twin flame, the popular belief says that it is the same soul which once upon a time, one time in history of its journey, fragmented into two parts, and they went into individual journeys, one born as a woman and one born as a man, and then they kept taking multiple births as a man and woman. And then there comes the time in that soul's journey when they are ready and they come and reunite back as one. So that's primarily the twin flame. The classic way to identify a twin flame is to see what is mirroring in each other's life. Would have different karma and different life experiences in this lifetime. However, their core issues, their crux of their soul will be mirroring a lot. So there will be a lot of twinning, there will be a lot of mirroring in patterns. So like for example, Paul had self-worth issue and I had self-worth issue, but he had self-worth issue in the area of profession and I had self-worth issue. So he felt that I am not worthy enough to do justice to this relationship because of my earning potential, etc. And I had, am I capable and deserving of attracting love? So same self-worth issue but manifesting in different directions. But it was mirroring and both had self-worth issues, and we had to work a lot on our self-worth issues to be able to reunite again and come into a matrimony and as a marital partner.
So this, like you're talking about similar issues mirroring each other. So that must be a very like for the audience, I want to explain that Paul is Neelam's late husband, and we are talking about him and how he was Neelam's twin flame. But so this must have really become an issue in the relationship, no?
It was
Major-
very challenging.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
extremely challenging.
So like
Because
it
he is
breaks the
fighting, I am
concept.
fighting. We both are fighting for the same things without realizing we are mirroring each other's baggage. So
Yeah.
baggage versus baggage and tishum, tishum, tishum.
So I want my audiences to note that twin flame होना मतलब ऐसा नहीं कि अरे मैंने तुम्हें देखा, तुमने मुझे देखा, वो प्यार हो गया, अब सब कुछ सही है.
No, it is
Not
the
to-
most challenging phenomena because baggage versus baggage mirror कर रहे हैं ना
Oh,
एक दूसरे का
Yeah.
baggage. तो हमें लगेगा he is dominating, उसको लगेगा he is dominating, but ultimately both are dominating.
Yeah.
And उसको लगेगा इसका ट्रॉमा और उसको लगेगा इसका ट्रॉमा, वो दोनों का ट्रॉमा है और मिरर हो रहा है बिल्कुल और बूमरैंग हो रहा है बिशुम बिशुम बिशुम.
So I think it's not the Bollywood thing that we see in movie that you know
No.
प्यार हो गया मिल गया. But I think definitely what our story right now, I can connect to our story also, show that कि,
Yeah.
first or 2 years of our marriage it was like कि पहले 2-4 साल तो ठीक थे, मतलब मिलते थे घर पे ही.
जब
जैस-
मीटिंग हो रही थी तब तो
तब कुछ सही था,
क्योंकि-
but जैसे ही हम मिले, I think we both started giving the baggages from our families to each other, and then it took us 5 years to come to this point that
Yeah.
you know, okay, now we have to work. There is no other option. I mean, you know, you cannot do anything. Yeah, yeah,
So like thank you for clarifying that twin flame is not a cakewalk.
yeah.
It is
You
not
have
a
to-
bed of roses at all.
Yeah.
It is not at all a bed of roses. Thankfully, in my and Paul's case, we had the love as the foundation and we had the spiritual work together and our spiritual stuff as the foundation, which kind of pulled us through. But we had equal amount of challenges, and unless each one of us chose to look within कि सामने वाला मेरे कौन से पैटर्न को मिरर कर रहा है या रिफ्लेक्ट कर रहा है या प्रोजेक्ट कर रहा है या मेरा कौन सा बैगेज और ट्रॉमा या शैडो सेल्फ को प्रोजेक्ट कर रहा है, जब तक उसको नहीं देखा और खुद को रिजॉल्व नहीं किया तो रिलेशनशिप टिकना पॉसिबल नहीं होता.
So basically, मतलब if I'm not wrong, हम ये बोलने की कोशिश करें कि अगर से for example I believe that someone is my twin flame, but at the same time I'm having a lot of issues, fights and underlying undercurrents and patterns going on with them. हमको अगर साथ में आना है as twin flame, we will have to commit to working on the relationship and
Absolutely.
working on our own self.
Working on our own self, because what we try to typically do in a relationship, we try to point fingers, we try to blame the other person.
Correct.
But the biggest act of courage, whether it is a twin flame relationship or a soulmate relationship or any other karmic relationship or any other normal or abnormal or run of the mill or special any other husband wife relationship or any relationship for that matter, it requires reflection within. Without that, harmony cannot exist, because हम हमेशा बाहर वाले को ब्लेम करते हैं ना, पर हम ये नहीं देखते कि एक उंगली उसकी तरफ तो चार मेरी तरफ है, तो मेरे अंदर क्या गड़बड़ हो रही है जिसकी वजह से सामने वाला ऐसे कर रहा है. तो और it's not that always whenever there is an abuse it is always we need to look within, but I'm point being, why have I attracted abuse? Why have I attracted this particular dominating type of a partner who is not giving me money, who is not honoring me, or why am I feeling suppressed? What is my learning in the process? So eventually, whether we take responsibility or not, that inner self-reflection is the key to a peaceful and a harmonious coexistence.
So would you say that twin flame is also a version of feminine and masculine? Like,
correct. So ultimately, when two portions of the soul come as one is the masculine part and one is the feminine part. If you observed in the invocation, I invoked Purush and Prakriti, Shiva and Shakti.
Yes.
Because these two elements and attributes, the masculine principle and the feminine principle, the yin and the yang, जिसको हम पुरुष और प्रकृति कहते हैं, शिव और शक्ति कहते हैं, वो they live within us. And if either one of these elements is imbalanced, then obviously the relationship outside will project that imbalance and it cannot be complete. So a man will also have a feminine masculine, and a woman will also have a feminine and a masculine principle. Woman primarily will operate out of the feminine and a man primarily will operate out of the masculine. So what essentially a twin flame relationship does is it projects those imbalances as well. And when they come together as one, it is a perfect harmony of the Purush and Prakriti. It is perfect harmony of the yin and the yang. So even those aspects come out for being balanced and being looked at within a man and within a woman both.
So is it right to say that when you come together, as we said, the yin and the yang, the Purush and the Shakti, when we also, called upon the Shiv and the Shakti Parvati,
Correct.
which we Indians largely believe in.
Correct.
So what happens in a marriage is, as a society, we have been always raised as a male and raised as a female. But
Correct.
when we come to marriage and when we start a relationship, obviously we are not a full person with a female energy and a male energy. We are male and we are female. It will be right to say that when we get together, it starts, creating those ripple effect, or you can say the issues from the female perspective in the male, and in the female it starts creating the male issues. Will it be right to say that?
Correct. I can give a very small example. Like men have been programmed to be a particular kind of a man over a masculine man, without trying to realize that a man will also have a feminine component to him, because Shiva and Shakti live within a man, Shiva and Shakti live within a woman. And similarly with regards to a woman. Now, over a period of years, what has happened is that men have also lost their feminine side and have become over masculine, or it has now become reverse also, that men, in order to become and integrate their feminine, have become over feminine and have lost their masculine essence also. It has happened ulta also. And a woman, in order to be an equal to a man, has become primarily more masculine and has suppressed her feminine essence per se. So a relationship primarily will reflect these dynamics also. So for example, there may be a relationship dynamic where instead of the masculine man being a provider, a woman becomes a provider because she is operating more out of her masculine. To just for the audience, in a nutshell, feminine principle is about receptivity and receiving, and masculine
Hmm.
principle is about providing and protection. Primarily, there are a lot of aspects to masculine and feminine, but primarily these are the aspects. अगर हम शिवलिंग को भी देखें तो शिव, the lingam is providing and the yoni, the lower part is
Yeah.
receiving. The female
Correct.
body also receives the lingam. So
Correct.
primarily our bodies are also designed in a way that the feminine body is about receiving and the masculine is about providing. Now
Hmm.
the dynamic can be reversed in a relationship, or a woman may operate out of her wounded feminine, become more into her victim space, or a man may be more feminine or maybe less masculine and not be the provider protector, or instead of taking charge he may become the controller, so he may operate out of wounded masculine and try
Hmm.
to dominate and control instead of the healed masculine. So
Hmm.
even
Hmm.
if both are operating feminine and masculine, उसमें भी वो हील्ड है कि नहीं, वो डिवाइन फेमिनिन है या डिवाइन वुंडेड फेमिनिन है, या वो वुंडेड मैस्कुलिन है या वुंडेड फेमिनिन है. These dynamics will also play a role in the dynamic of a man and a woman in a relationship.
Hmm.
So can
So
you give?
taking charge is a very masculine trait, and having
Hmm.
courage and being a warrior.
Hmm.
But if that trait is out of proportion, then it
Hmm.
can lead to an abusive dynamic. It can lead to violence, and it could lead to मेरी ही बात सही होनी चाहिए. I should be only the one who should be listened to. So वो controlling and violent dynamic हो जाएगा. So there imbalance is created. A woman has to be receiving and equally giving, but primarily receiving. But if she says, no, no, I'm only going to receive and not going to give, oh, but I'm not receiving only, or not ready to do her bit. A woman has multiple dynamics to her. She's a little girl, she's a mother, she's a wild woman, and she's a grandmother also. So in different phases of her menstruation cycle, she will display different characteristics of the feminine. But if she's not in alignment with that, then also she becomes a wounded feminine, and she can go into that victim space, or she can also dominate and be the masculine because she wants to be an equal to the man, and that dynamic, and she can become a manipulative feminine, and without her knowing she can be cunning and conniving rather than the divine feminine or the healed feminine. So a
Hmm.
lot of dynamics can play into a man and woman relationship within the masculine and feminine.
So can you give us a real life example of a healed masculine and a healed feminine ka traits? Like for example, a healed feminine is supposed to be receptive, creative,
Correct.
create new things, and
Correct.
not try to control others like you just said. So can you
Correct.
give us like a set example that could be the ideal scenario to reach if you're wounded feminine or wounded masculine? So for both
So
of them.
it's a very large topic, but I'll try to say it in as much words as possible.
Very simply, I just wanted our audience to understand that when we say a wounded masculine, so everybody understands कि somebody who's overly patriarchal and everything.
Correct.
But
Correct.
उसका healed version क्या होगा?
Healed version is a
क्योंकि
man.
देखने को
He,
नहीं मिलता है ना healed version.
healed version would be a man who is equally uh, worthy and whole within himself with regards to his feminine side. He has not curtailed his softer side. He has not curtailed his shakti. He's
Hmm.
equally not feeling weak by his feminine side. So his own creative expression, his own birthing capabilities, his own softer side, his own creative expression, his own receptivity. Because ultimately a man as masculine provider doesn't mean उसको सिर्फ देना है, उसकी भी
Hmm.
receptivity है,
Hmm.
उसका भी cyclical nature है. See, feminine is very cyclical, like the moon. तो dark moon होगा, waxing moon होगा, full moon होगा, waning moon होगा. So these are different facets of the circular nature of the feminine. But a man is also cyclical. He will, although he follows the rhythm of the sun, and a woman follows the rhythm of the moon.
Moon.
But man also has a cycle, and a woman also has a cycle. So in order to understand, in order to be a divine masculine or a healed masculine, a man who is in touch with his cyclical nature, a man who is in touch with his softer, nurturing side, not just the dominating and taking charge or the warrior side, a man who knows when to rest and when to act and when to be a warrior, and not in denial of his rest, not just a go-getter, but equally knows when to pause and retreat, equally knows how to allow receiving, equally loves to receive help rather than just give. So
Hmm.
all of these facets, and it doesn't go into that patriarchal man of dominating and controlling and violence and abuse. All of that, in a nutshell, would make him,
A balance. And what about female? What about female?
one more thing, Karan. A
Yeah.
man who is in touch with his emotional side.
Okay.
Yes.
The
I
biggest disconnect of the feminine in a man typically happens when a man is not connected with his emotions. You will see a man doing everything, but you will see majority of men not being able to emote. यार ये एक्सप्रेशन नहीं आता, कर तो रहा हूँ तुम्हारे लिए मतलब सब कुछ, पर इमोशनल एक्सप्रेशन नहीं आएगा, एंड द वुमन विल बी डाइंग एंड क्रेविंग, अरे यार लवी डवी बोल दो, अरे यार कोई कोई बातें कर दो, अरे यार रोमांटिसाइज कर दो, अरे यार एक्सप्रेस कर दो हाउ मच यू केयर फॉर मी. अ मैन विल बी not just in expressing love for his woman, but also his own disconnection from his own emotions.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
typically, if you see that a man, typical the emotion which a man knows how to emote is his anger. If you see a man fearful, he'll be angry. If you see a man guilty, he'll be angry. If you see a man jealous, he'll be angry. Exhibiting his emotion is mostly in a man in the form of an anger. So man who is really in touch with the nuances of his emotional side and is not afraid to recognize his emotions and express
Yeah.
his emotions, that would also be an important trait integrated of the feminine within a man.
Hmm.
I
And
think
what
this
about
was
female? Sorry, you saying?
this was one of the topics we were just discussing yesterday. That how up until some time, Karan didn't even know what he was feeling.
Yeah.
Correct.
Like he couldn't identify the emotion. तो वो कुछ बोलता ही नहीं था, वो चुप हो जाता था एकदम कि अभी
Right.
मुझसे लड़ाई नहीं हो पा रही, मुझसे प्यार नहीं हो पा रहा, मुझसे कुछ भी नहीं हो पा रहा, मैं चला जाऊंगा रूम छोड़ के या फिर मैं चुप
Exactly.
हो जाऊंगा.
I used to shut down. I think as we were discussing about how we have been born and brought up, right? We also are never been taught to emote our feelings, right? हमको बोला जाता है that आप बाहर जाइए, आपका काम सिर्फ पैसे कमाना है. So for me, when I saw my parents getting divorced, and I saw that my father also used to go out to earn money, and my mother also at a later period of time, because we were financially crunched down, she also used to go and eat money, in need of money, she used to go and earn money. And my sister also went to earn money. But what I'm right now understanding is it is about receiving also. So you can see the disbalance in my family, that all of the family members were only looking at the financial side, and they did not have any emotional connect. And it did not happen with only my family, it is coming from generations that are been there.
Yeah.
So it has also happened with my grandfather, grandmother, my uncle, my aunt. So the whole family dynamics are at play right now, and there is an imbalance everywhere. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So now, can we also look at the female side? Because what I also saw is in our relationship, at least, because I saw, why I'm asking this question, Neelam, is that when we both got married, I was absolutely fine with having a wife who is equal. Right now, if you look at in the society, or the world that we are living in right now, uh, वहां पे हमको ऐसा लगता है कि मेरी जो पार्टनर है ना, वो इक्वल होनी चाहिए, फाइनेंशियली ऑल्सो एंड इमोशनली ऑल्सो. वन ऑफ द थिंग्स विच हैपेंड विद शोकी वाज बिकॉज आई सॉ my family going through lot of troubles in finances. I was okay to take help from Shoki. I did not realize that what will happen to Shoki in her own facet when she starts providing the money. So that created a problem. So if you can touch base, what is the exact female healed version which has the balance of both male and female?
Sure, I'll come to that. However, I'm still reminded of an example regarding a man and how society conditions a man to be, and why a man is disconnected from the emotions is मर्द को दर्द नहीं होता, मर्द नहीं
Yes.
रोता.
Yeah.
So, as you rightly said, this is programming of generations. And we've seen our men behave in a particular way, we've seen women behave in a particular way. So a woman will either become an alpha woman, then a man becomes a subdued man and hence loses his masculine side, or a woman becomes a suppressed woman in the lineage and she is taken over by the dominating man, and hence also the wounded feminine. So the wounded feminine will be either the victim who is allowing the subjugation of her feminine side, of being the woman, or she will become the manipulator, because that's how she knows power. So the manipulator version also, wherein she goes to the corporate world and becomes that equally a tough nutcracker and wants to kills her own emotions and kills her own creativity, and is just wants to be accepted in the society, in the corporate world, and has to take that toughness in her body and in her mind and becomes like a man, like more masculine. So that is an unhealed version of the woman or of the feminine side. That's what happened to us. In the name of women's liberation movement, in a desire for women being an equal to men, there is nothing wrong in being equal. Equal doesn't mean you become something like something other, like someone else. The whole crux of the story is you be complete within your own self, and you recognize your own strengths and you operate from there. That is, and woman's strengths being recognized and a man's strengths being recognized is equality.
Yeah.
Women's liberation movement did not say a woman should become like a man.
Yeah.
So the whole wrong fundamental happened wherein in order to fit in or in order to grow, because women were deprived of certain areas of work like in the legal field and political field and all of that, and unfortunately that has made women more masculine. And if you see,
Yeah.
that is reflected in our health also,
Yeah.
in her uterus health, in her womb health, in her body ache issues, in her
Yeah.
mental health, everywhere this is reflected. Now, if a woman is unhealthy mentally or emotionally or physically, obviously that is going to project in her relationships, obviously that is going to project in her family. So, man representing a masculine principle in a family unit and a woman representing a feminine principle or mother principle in a family unit, if both of them are imbalanced, then both of them are birthing children who are uh, being raised in an unhealthy family unit, and then those unhealed children become unhealed adults because they have taken up on the parent patterns of their parents and their grandparents and their grandparents, and they create a family which is again coming together of a man and a woman who is unhealed in many dimensions, and they create a family, and that's how an unhealthy society gets created, and it keeps on lingering, and that's how ancestral issues. That's why a family unit between a man and woman, the microcosm, is so important in the macrocosm, because unless and until man and a woman heals, our society cannot heal.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
So true.
So true.
And we are all dealing with this majorly now,
Yeah.
The coming generation is identifying that this is wrong. This is a
Yeah.
pattern. There are a lot of people, like Karan and me included, that we've come to that point that we don't want kids. Let us heal first.
Yeah.
पहले खुद को तो संभालो, उसके बाद तो तुम प्रोक्रिएशन की बात करोगे.
Yeah, the creation which is alive right now on Mother Earth, let's first heal them and then possibly
Correct,
proceed for the next procreation. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I just want to point out one thing, although it is out of context, that we have been programmed to believe that creation and birthing is only with regards to humans producing babies.
Yes.
But what you and Shoki are producing, Karan and Shoki are producing this show, is also birthing. ये भी आपका baby है.
Exactly.
Yes,
And
exactly.
this is also creative expression, and bravo and kudos to that. You are
Thank you.
nurturing this baby with a
Yeah.
purpose. How
Yeah.
commendable is that?
And you know what? This is like reinforcement of what we've
What we have been doing. I think I'm
told in our Akashic healings also.
yeah,
Acha,
yeah.
क्या बात?
I'm overwhelmed right now, but yeah.
Okay.
So yay, display of emotion is coming up.
Yes. Right here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, so right now, like we were talking about generational patterns,
Yeah.
and Karan just told that he had not seen his, like, 3 generations of his family. He's never seen someone emote or express his feelings. So he could never do that. On top of all of these things, he was also a trauma survivor. So he had a childhood abuse in his life, and there were a lot of financial issues, and viewing his parents in a bad relationship, and all of those things had manifested into a lot of marital issues between Karan and me. And we initially talked about how this could have been, like you said, that part of your soul was gone, or it could have been a version of a soul contract with me, right, in that matter.
Yeah.
So can you give us can you throw some light on what are these soul lessons that people have, that they come here with, कि मुझे ये सीखना है तो अब मैं इतना suffering करूंगा. And again, for a layman, if someone doesn't
Sure.
know any spirituality, how will they get to know about soul
So,
lessons?
we all know about the story of life and death and karma, right?
Yeah.
In Hinduism, we very well know that a soul reincarnates from one lifetime to another. और कुछ कर्म होते हैं जो हम काटते हैं, जो तो हमारी suffering होती है, वो भी हमारे कर्म होते हैं. Besides the karmic theory, so one reason why we attract certain people is because of the karmic theory. कि उनके साथ हमारा कर्मा लेन देन कंप्लीट नहीं हुआ होता है, इसीलिए हम उसको अट्रैक्ट करते हैं. बट कर्मा बाय पॉपुलर नोशन सेज कि मैंने ये बुरे कर्म किए होंगे इसीलिए मुझे सफ़र करना है. आई बेग टू डिफर हियर. आई वॉन्ट टू से दैट कर्मा इज़ अबाउट लर्निंग ऑल्सो. ऐसा माना जाता है, इट इज़ बिलीव दैट from every incarnation, from one lifetime to another, a soul grows and evolves, and depending on the level and the capability of the soul, it will choose कि इस लाइफ टाइम में मुझे जाके ये सीखना है, डिपेंडिंग ऑन मेरा ये कर्मा जो बना है और डिपेंडिंग ऑन जो मेरी तैयारी है, अब मैं इस लेवल तक पहुंचा हूँ और पुराने जन्मों का इवैल्यूएशन करते करते वो अपना एक मिशन स्टेटमेंट और विजन स्टेटमेंट तैयार करता है अपने गाइड्स और अपने इष्ट देवी देवताओं के साथ मिलकर. वो एक ही और शी डिसाइड्स that I will be born in this family under these astrological alignments, such that these astrological alignments will support me and these astrological alignments will challenge me. Why the challenges? Because I have to complete certain karmic things. Why the support? Because I'm here to learn certain lessons and I'm supposed to contribute this and this to the society. So based on what are the gifts at my soul level, also based on my karmic alignments, what challenges now I'm ready to face, and based on karma, what is ready to be fructified, I will choose a life plan and I will choose a life story. कि मैं जाऊंगा, मैं ना शोखी को चूज करूंगा तो शोखी मेरी बहुत अच्छी दोस्त बन जाएगी और वो मुझे मेरी लीडरशिप क्वालिटीज में सपोर्ट करेगी, एक ऐसी अपॉर्चुनिटी देगी वेर आई कैन एग्जिबिट माई लीडरशिप क्वालिटीज. देन आई विल ग्रो 10 years older and I will meet Karan and Karan will betray me. Why will it betray me? क्योंकि या तो हो सकता है कि मैंने किसी को बिट्रे किया था और मुझे वो कर्म पूरा करना है, या मैं हर लाइफ टाइम में वेली हूँ, नाई हूँ, बेवकूफ़ हूँ और लोग मुझे आके चीट कर जाते हैं और मुझे सीखना है डिजर्नमेंट, मुझे सीखना है थोड़ी सी होशियारी, मुझे आई वॉन्ट टू लर्न बींग लिटिल स्ट्रीट स्मार्ट. सो Karan will come and project that contrast. See, I'm here to betray you. I'm telling you कि आप विदेश चले जाओ, आप 10 लाख रुपए भर दो और आपको जॉब मिल जाएगी. तो मुझे अपना विवेक और बुद्धि यूज करने की अपॉर्चुनिटी है when Karan comes into my life. So these are the kind of lessons we choose. कि in this lifetime I have a story of betraying, being betrayed lifetime after lifetime. इस lifetime में जाके मैंने वो पैटर्न तोड़ना है, इस lifetime में मैंने जाके स्ट्रीट स्मार्टनेस सीखनी है, इस lifetime में जाके मैंने डिजर्नमेंट सीखनी है और अच्छे बुरे की पहचान सीखनी है, वो विवेक सीखना है, वो झल्लापन छोड़ना है, नाइवनेस छोड़नी है. आई वांट टू लीव बीइंग नाइव. आई वांट टू बी not, I don't want to manipulate people, but I want to learn to maneuver my way rather than being foolishly innocent. I want to be wise and innocent. I want to operate from the wisdom of my heart and I want to be able to see through the dark. I want to develop that wisdom. So these are the kind of lessons which the soul will pick up based on its karmic imprints, its ancestral lineage stories, its womb stories and so on. So when a couple come together, it's all possible that one person may be very, very dominating and the woman may feel very, very subjugated. So it's possible that a man has come to learn the lesson to treat women as an equal, because in his ancestral lineage women have been suppressed. So he has come to break that pattern, but he is driven by the ancestral pattern of dominating over the woman. Woman on the other hand may have come to stand tall for herself, and she may have been violated and driven by patriarchal relationships in multiple lifetimes or in her childhood. So she may have come with a twin agenda to teach the man how to treat women as an equal, or to learn from the man and being dominated to stand tall for herself and take charge of her life and break those chains of patriarchy. So this is how sometimes in a relationship a contrast can be projected so that we learn certain lessons and break the stereotypes and grow and evolve as a soul and live our soul's mission and vision. So for example, if I have been very masculine and I have come to learn the lesson of feminine, it's possible that I will attract some men who honor that feminine and who I receive as a woman. But it is also possible that a certain man will come and challenge me and I will continue giving that man also instead of receiving from that man. So it is here where I have to learn to change the dynamic. I am here to learn to receive more. But again, I am falling into the pattern of overgiving. See, giving and receiving is a part of every relationship, be it a man or a woman. So woman bhi degi. But if she is being only the provider and not being receiving, and there is no healthy balance of giving and receiving between the couple, then a woman can think, I am only giving, I am not receiving, I am depleted. So what am I here to learn? Oh, I am here to balance my feminine side and also learn to receive. And when she starts working on that dynamic of learning to receive, then the changes will be seen in the man as well, and that's how the dynamic becomes more harmonious. And that's how soul lessons play in our lives. These are just few examples.
So now that you're talking about some women who are just overly giving, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just trying to give a example of that. Like for example, in my family, I had only seen my grandmother always sacrifice. यू नो,
Correct.
कि आज 4 रोटी बनी है तो मैं 4 लोगों को रोटी दे देती हूँ, मैं पानी पी के सो जाऊंगी। या फिर अगर 4 लड्डू बचे हैं तो मैं सारे बच्चों को लड्डू खिला देती हूँ, मैं लड्डू नहीं खाऊंगी। या फिर ओवरऑल इन जनरल इन लाइफ शी बिकेम सच अ गिवर दैट शी डिप्लीटेड हर ओन सेल्फ, मतलब इवेंचुअली शी डाइड ऑफ कैंसर। सो इट वाज जस्ट दैट शी यूज्ड टू फील एज इफ मेरे लिए कुछ नहीं बचा, एंड हर ओन सेल्फ डिप्लीटेड अवे अंदर ही अंदर। बट दिस इज माई इंटरप्रिटेशन ऑफ फ्रॉम व्हाट यू आर सेइंग। सो am I correct?
You're absolutely correct. What you're talking about is ancestral patterns.
Hmm.
Karmic story is different. Ki karmic, so patterns can reflect in both situations, in ancestral lineages, from the womb of the mother, through our past life, and through our upbringing also. And all of these patterns will reflect in our relationship dynamic as well. So one
Hmm.
is the karmic angle, where we have come to learn certain lessons. Ki I have this lifetime I have come to balance the masculine and the feminine side both. And so I may attract a partner who reflects this imbalance, and I'm forced to bring into balance the dynamic of receiving and giving, the dynamic of discernment, the dynamic of standing tall for myself, or for Karan it may be the dynamic of emoting, the dynamic of expressing his creativity, and so on and so forth. तो ये हमारा एक कार्मिक एंगल हो गया, सोल एंगल हो गया, सोल एसेंस हो गया. What also programs our mind and DNA is our upbringing,
Hmm.
how we have seen our parents. And unconsciously, whether we desire it or not, we become like our mother and father. Even if I have had a healthy relationship with my mother and father,
Hmm.
but the loyalty bond is so strong that unconsciously I'll pick up their attributes, and those attributes may be good or may be bad.
Hmm.
And they will also reflect in my relationship dynamic. This is one. Two, how I have seen cultural programming and society conditioning, society programming, religious programming, those will also reflect in my relationship dynamic, because unconsciously I've picked up masks and imprints from society, culture, and religion as well, apart from my parents. Then the third is the karmic angle, which I've already spoken about. The fourth is the ancestral dynamic that you are speaking about. If I have relationship dynamic in my family where women have only been givers and they have self-martyred and self-sabotaged themselves,
Yeah.
then I have unconsciously been gifted with that DNA, whether I desire it or not.
Hmm.
And that DNA will rule my story, because I am not living my story. I am living my karmic story. I am living my mother's and father's story. I am living the story of culture and religion and society's programming. And I am also living my ancestral story. Until one soul is born and who says, ये सब क्या nonsense है. This is not right. And they come, like both of you, and break those chains and family patterns and recreate that dynamic.
Yeah.
And this is the way we heal our ancestors and we heal our future generations also. So what you're talking about is purely an ancestral angle, but which also interestingly runs the family dynamic and the relationship dynamic, because the mother and father create a family unit, and their mother and father created that family unit, and that's
Yeah.
how lineage is story. So our generational stories also reflect in our current relationship dynamic.
Hmm.
And they will be passed on to our children as well, unfortunately. For those of you who are listening who have children, and the way you as husband and wife interact, and the way you and husband and wife have a dynamic, healthy or unhealthy, all of that is unconsciously being passed on to your children. So what you allow in a relationship, what you don't allow in a relationship, what choices you make, what choices you don't make, all of that is being passed to 7 future generations, and all of that plays a significant role in future relationships. Forget current, वो तो हो ही रहा है, बट हम फ्यूचर 7 जनरेशंस की रिलेशनशिप को भी बर्थ कर रहे हैं अपने डायनामिक के थ्रू. दिस रिलेशनशिप इज सो इम्पोर्टेंट.
I think lot of thoughts given right now. I think अभी जब आपने इतना सारा बोला, आई थिंक जो थॉट्स चल रहे हैं मेरे माइंड में, दोज आर द थॉट्स दैट हम ना कभी कॉन्शियसली इसके बारे में सोचते नहीं है. वी नेवर थिंक इन दिस वे दैट हाउ these patterns are actually working for us or for others or for the loved ones that we are living right now. So जैसे ही अभी आप ये बोल रहे हो, मुझे I'm really going back to my generations or great grandfather, because to give you a context, where I'm going right now is my like अगर मैं अपनी background story बताऊं तो grandfather and grandfather were a part of the India partition war, correct? And they came from Pakistan to India, and they have certain amount of traumas, they have certain amount of issues that went across, they had financial issues. And currently, how financial issues has been a constant thing. And right now, one of the things that happened recently with us is, there's something good that I did in my life after like probably 3 generations. Is I am the only one person who has bought a brand new an SUV, right? No one could actually do, like, from the educational background, from lot of things. So when you are talking about, I'm going back to all of those things, that what courage and how it happens, that you only have to change. Otherwise there is no help that is going to come from anyone, because आप जब तक डिसाइड नहीं करोगे इसको चेंज करने के लिए, आप जब तक मानोगे नहीं कि ये जो प्रॉब्लम हो रही है ये मेरी प्रॉब्लम है, it is
Right.
not the problem of others, it is not the problem that has been driven by others.
Yeah.
Only then you will be able to actually see your own self and see all of these patterns what we discussed right now.
Yeah. And I think
It's very
this
true.
is one of the other question, I think, which has been a constant in all our podcasts to all our guests, that uh, there are a lot of audiences who come to us and either ऐसा होता है कि कपल में से कोई एक रेडी है चीज़ों को आइडेंटिफाई करके ठीक करने के लिए, एंड एक कंप्लीटली ब्लाइंड है कि any problem exists. So do you have any advice to give to these kind of couples or people, that how can they break through and see the patterns कि है कुछ तो प्रॉब्लम हो रही है? Is there a way, like, practically possible for them to come out of it? तो कैसी लग रही है आपको ये स्पिरिचुअल अप्रोच टू रिलेशनशिप्स? सो फार वी हैव ओनली सीन द क्लिनिकल अप्रोच, द थेरेपिस्ट अप्रोच. This is a different shamanic approach to looking at relationships and your life. How do you like it? Tell us in the comments. This is not over yet, guys. There is another episode coming next week. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We are available on all social media platforms under the name Happily Whatever After with KS. See you next week.